Hello and welcome. I am Emily Ryan with Priority Ministries, and I'm here with Laurie Cole today. She is an author and speaker, author of 5, now 6 Bible studies, and her latest one is called Are You a Disciple? Saying Yes to a Life Beyond Casual Christianity. And I know that you probably have some questions about this study if you're considering it for yourself or for your group. So I've taken a lot of those questions, and we're just going to sit down and find out what this is all about. Thanks so much for being here today, Laurie.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it. The number one question that I need to know first, and that we all are asking, is are there any misconceptions about discipleship? What is the number one misconception, would you say?
Well, I would say first it is that all Christians are just automatically disciples, that's just one is the same as the other. And the Bible doesn't teach that.
Yeah.
There are two separate things. Being a Christian is one thing, but being a disciple is a completely, entirely different thing. And then I would say there's one other misconception.
Okay.
And it is this, that if you become a disciple, that's really for elite status Christians, all right? That's not for everybody. That you can only be that if you're just some, super Christian or whatever. That
if your halo shines really bright.
Yeah. That discipleship is something that's just for elite status. That's kind of what I would say. And both of those couldn't be any further from the truth.
Well, I agree. Well, the subtitle of your book is very telling. Saying Yes to a Life Beyond Casual Christianity. Let me play devil's advocate for a minute.
Okay.
Why do I even want a life beyond casual Christianity? When you read the Bible, the disciples' lives seem to be full of sacrifice and suffering. Isn't casual Christianity enough sometimes?
Well, what a great question. I would just say this, that lots of people stay as a casual Christian. And a casual Christian, really the Bible defines that in 1 Corinthians as someone who's an immature Christian, a baby Christian, someone who never grows, someone who never becomes a disciple. And some people remain that all their lives. And what a sad thing. Here's the truth. Yes, discipleship requires persecution. It will produce that. You will be persecuted, Jesus said. They persecuted me, they'll persecuted you. They hated me, they'll hate you. But the truth is, when you look at the lives of those casual Christians in 1 and 2 Corinthians, you see suffering in a whole different way. They were suffering the results, the consequences of choosing to just stay baby Christians. And that's self-inflicted suffering.
Right.
Who wants that? Plus, the other thing is, Jesus calls us to follow him. If I remain a casual Christian, then I don't get to know Jesus in an intimate way. I don't get to follow him on this journey that is amazing and that is going to take me toward his will for my life. I'm going to miss out on that, and I don't want to miss that. It's worth the sacrifice. It's worth the suffering. It's worth it all to follow Jesus.
It is, and you never know that until you actually experience discipleship.
Right. That's right.
There's never been a disciple who said, never mind, it wasn't worth it. It's always worth it.
It is worth it.
Well, whenever you first piloted this study about a year ago, over 400 women have already done this study and gave you a lot of feedback and great stories, great comments. Were there any that stood out to you from that time?
Well, I think there were several, but I'll limit it to just a couple. One was women who told me they would come up and they would, after it was over with, I got to talk to them. They did evaluations every week and helped me understand what worked and what didn't work, so we could, make the study as strong as we possibly could. But a lot of them said, I've been a Christian for a long time, but I've been stuck, or I just have felt like something was missing. And they just shared with me that in doing the study, they saw the next steps they needed to take to continue on in their walk with the Lord and to become a disciple. And so it helped them kind of get unstuck and helped them make decisions to move forward in their walk with Christ. The other one was small group leaders who came to me and they said, "Can I tell you something?" And I'm always preparing myself for the worst, and this is what they said. "I thought when I saw the title of this study that I was going to lead, I thought that it was for new Christians or baby Christians, and it really wasn't for me because I've been a Christian a long time. I've been a small group." And they would say, that the study challenged me. I needed this study, and I thought I didn't. And so that was a blessing for me to hear both of those stories.
Well, how did you grow personally as a result of writing this study?
Well, it's a very challenging study for me as I looked especially at I think the characteristics, one of the characteristics of a disciple is that you'll be like the one you follow. You'll be Christ-like. And when I look at the boldness of Christ, and when I look at the boldness of Peter and Paul and all these others that followed Jesus, and I see how bold they were about their faith and how uncompromising they were, it challenged me to be more bold in my faith, especially in light of what's going on in our nation and how Christianity is just becoming more and more persecuted, even in the nation that is supposed to be one nation under God. You and I are going to face persecution more and more as this continues. And this study, as I studied it, made me want to be more bold in my faith.
Good. I agree. I had the privilege of going through it whenever you first piloted it, and I agreed with everything. It was, to me, surprising. That was the word that I summed up my entire experience. It wasn't quite what I expected, but I came away knowing that I had grown and having the steps to continue growing, which was very, very important, I thought. Well, are there any final thoughts that you would have for these ladies?
Well, I think that what I would just say is that there was a woman that really inspired me that I studied as I was preparing for this study, and it was a lady in the book of Acts. I think it's Acts 17 or 18. Her name's Priscilla. And Priscilla, oh man, I fell in love with her. And I want to be a Priscilla, and I want other women to be a Priscilla. And what I mean by that is that I would become and that you would become not just a Christian and not even just a disciple, but a disciple who makes disciples. That's who Priscilla was. And that is what I'm praying, that Are You a Disciple will produce women, more Priscillas. We need more Priscillas in this world.
Yes, definitely. Doesn't that sound like what you would want for yourself or for your church ladies or for your small group in your home? I promise you'll be blessed by this study. If you have any questions or if we can help you at all in choosing it or in implementing it in your group, please let us know. You can go to priorityministries.com and we'll be happy to answer any of your questions and help you out. Thanks so much, Laurie. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, girls.